What's going on, guys? It's Mr. DEBT Joe Logan from the Money Etiquette Group, and I'm here with another financial breakdown video. And today we're talking about Floyd Mayweather versus Paul, the pay-per-view fight that's in February 20th, and it's going to be streamed through Fanmio. We're going to talk about the relationship between Floyd Mayweather and Fanmio. We're going to talk about how much money could be potentially made. We're going to talk about the popularity of the app. We're going to talk about everything when it comes to the money, because ultimately we know this is a money grab. And by the end of this video, in the middle of this video, I don't care if it's in the beginning, I want to hear from you. And I want to know if you're willing to pay for this pay-per-view. And I'm not just talking about boxing fans. I'm not just talking about MMA fans. I'm talking about everyone. I'm talking about YouTube fans. I'm talking about everyone that's a fan of either Floyd Mayweather Jr. or a fan of seeing him get knocked out, or a fan of Logan. I want to know if you're going to pay for the fight. Right now it's $24.99. It's going to go up to $69.99. Are you willing to pay either price for this fight? All right, for anyone that's been living in a shed and doesn't know who Floyd Mayweather Jr. is, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is one of the most popular stars in combat sports. I don't care if it's boxing, I don't care if it's MMA, if you follow those sports. In fact, if you've just been watching television, I don't even care if you're a sports fan, you know who Floyd Mayweather Jr. is. We're talking about the undefeated, possibly best of all time, or at least that's what he calls himself, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, the best, whatever. Floyd Mayweather certainly is a top all-time boxer in the history of boxing. In fact, you could just say in the history of combat sports, Floyd Mayweather is one of the most successful from a financial standpoint and from a career standpoint that we've ever seen. And he's fighting Logan. And Paul, he's only been fighting for 3 years. So we're not talking about someone that's an expert fighter, but we are talking about a YouTube star. So we're talking about a celebrity versus another celebrity at this point. Floyd Mayweather's been retired for like 5 years, so he's not even an active fighter. He's only been fighting in exhibitions over in Japan. But now he's taking on this fight, coming off of the Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. fight, where we saw his brother knock out Nate Robinson.
Dummy.
Everyone's seen the knockout. Everyone's seen the clip. The memes have gone out. The Logan name is high right now when it comes to boxing and celebrity events. But is it big enough to sell this fight? Now, a lot of you are probably saying, look, you're a boxing enthusiast. You're a big fan. I'm a boxing enthusiast. Okay, so from a boxing perspective, I don't care about this fight. But from a business perspective, I'm very interested in the outcome of this fight. Why? Because let's look at the background. For those who aren't familiar, Fanmio, I'm not surprised if you're not familiar with the company, because honestly, they're not that popular. We're talking about a company when it comes to their social media accounts. On Instagram, they have maybe 35,000 followers. We're talking about on Facebook under their business page, they have about 5,000 likes. And on Twitter, we're talking about 1,055 followers. So we're not speaking on a popular company. Now, what they will be after this, we'll see. But as of right now, there are 35,000 followers on Instagram. How much do you want to bet that they reach 100,000 or let's say 200,000, maybe even 1 million by February as we get closer to the fight? We'll see. But when we look at the company, this is a company that was started in 2017 by Solomon Ingle. And in 2019, they launched. One of their largest signings was Floyd Mayweather Jr. I believe that was in 2020. It might have been April of 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic. Now, from Floyd Mayweather's perspective, it was a smart signing. It doesn't say that in his deal, he's a partial owner. It doesn't say he's an investor. It just says that the app, the company, signed Floyd Mayweather. We don't know the details behind the deal. Hopefully he's getting some share of the company, but maybe not. I don't know. It's not a public company. We'll see in the future. But as of now, he's their biggest star. And he decided to sign on conveniently right at the start of the pandemic. And what this company does, if you're not familiar again with Fanmio, what they do is they connect fans with stars. They're saying, okay, you could have a 30-minute conversation, maybe a 20-minute, maybe a 15-minute conversation with Floyd Mayweather from anywhere from $100 to $1,500, which includes merch and other things and other prizes. And it's not just Floyd Mayweather. There are other stars on it. Maybe the Paul brothers are on it now. I don't know. The Logan brothers are on it now. I don't know. But I do know Floyd Mayweather's on the app. And it seems like since we have to be socially distanced, we know we can't have big live events, Maybe his team saw this as a good idea to say, you know what, let's go with this for now. If you look at the history of the CEO and founder of Fanmio, you would see that he's a person that develops companies and sells them. He did so with Boxes, and he has good timing. Boxes was a company that facilitated trade when you're dealing with collectibles. And in 2019, they were acquired, and 6 months to 7 months later, the company that acquired Boxes filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So it was a good time to get out. I'm not mad at Solomon Ingle for getting out of a company that ultimately probably was going downwards, and then it got purchased, he cashed out, and then after that, it went nowhere. But nevertheless, looking at this company, looking at the numbers behind it, the finances, they're charging from $24.99. As you get closer to the fight, then it goes up to, after 1 million buys, it goes up to $39.99. And then it goes to $59.99. And then it ultimately on February 11th goes to $69.99 in pricing. What I really want to see is how many people purchase this fight at $24.99 versus $69.99. Because as we know right now, the hype machine hasn't really started yet. What's going to happen when people recognize that Floyd Mayweather, even though he's a great fighter, we know he's not a knockout artist. He's about 5'8", 160, soaking wet. When they put out there that he's fighting a guy that's like 6'1", 6'2", he might even be 6'3", I don't know. He's over 6 foot. He's going to weigh maybe 185 fight night, weigh-in night 185, but by fight night, he might be 200 pounds. So we're talking about a guy that's much bigger than Floyd Mayweather. I mean, he probably has like a 9-inch reach advantage. He's taller, he's stronger, he's younger. Based on what his brother did, people are going to believe that he's a knockout puncher because his brother knocked out Nate Robinson. People don't follow boxing will believe that. So will the general public be convinced that this brother can knock out Floyd Mayweather Jr.? That's where the success of the fight and the pay-per-view fight and this money grab lies. How many people genuinely believe, because of the size difference, because they saw Nate Robinson get knocked out by his brother, how many people believe Logan? How many people believe that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is going to get knocked out with all those disadvantages? The hype machine will start soon. Trust me, that's going to be the build up, because people know, if you know Floyd Mayweather, you understand that more people want to see him get knocked out than people that want to see him win. So how much are you willing to pay to see Floyd potentially get knocked out? And do you believe he's going to get knocked out? That's where the money lies. I'm going to be watching. We'll see if the lead up, I'm sure they're going to talk trash. I'm sure they're going to come up with promo clips that makes this guy look like a knockout artist, makes him look tough and powerful. It's going to make Floyd look old, look like maybe he's losing it. He's gaining weight. He's fat in the stomach. He can be knocked out. He's just a puny little guy, as Connor said, with little teeny arms and little teeny legs and a little teeny head. Will that matter with this size difference with a pretty much amateur, slightly pro boxer? Not even pro, man. He's an amateur boxer versus a Hall of Famer. We'll have to wait and see. But at the end of this, I almost guarantee you this. Fanmio, if they make a lot of money, I don't believe they can duplicate this fight, but I also believe they'll be acquired by someone else, because that, to me, is the ultimate goal. It's for Solomon Ingle to get this company acquired by a bigger company. Will it happen? Will it not happen? Tell me in the comment section. Tell me what you think. I'm looking forward to it, not the fight, but the business.